Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Shelly Pies.
You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
How's it going, Shelly?
Great. How are you guys?
We're good.
We're doing good. We're doing good. What exactly do you do?
I sell residential real estate in Oakland, Wayne, Genesee, and Livingston County.
Awesome. I like it. So let's back it up a little bit. When you were really little, did you know you were going to be an agent when you grew up?
Absolutely not. I mean, absolutely nothing. Never. Didn't even know how we lived in the house we lived in, how my mom acquired it. I had no idea. No, when I was young, I thought I would be a journalist on TV because that's what I saw every day. So I thought, and I actually went to college for journalism. So
Okay.
that's where I thought I was going to end up.
Yeah. That's awesome. So how did you go from wanting to do that to getting into real estate? Kind of tell us that process.
Well, out of college, I actually, so I go to college, learn English. I'm a grammar nerd. And then right out of college, I actually started working in residential real estate doing mortgages. So I went to a numbers game. And I did that for 14 years. So I learned the industry, the back end of the industry through doing mortgages. And it was a very lucrative career, and it was easy to have a family with that career. Then 2010, I had my fourth child. So I decided to become a stay-at-home mom. And that lasted about a year. And I had to get back to work. So instead of going back into mortgages, the real estate industry had changed so much.
Yeah.
Everything was online now. They weren't using the old books. GPS was available. There were systems and software that came into play that made real estate seem more attractive to me than all my agent friends that were sending me mortgage business for years. That they, I would see how hard they worked and how difficult it was. Well, things started streamlining. So I decided I was going to get back into real estate, and I was going to get back into the market and sell residential real estate.
Awesome.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I loved it.
So when you jumped back into real estate, how did you balance? You have got 4 kids, so how did you balance that?
Well, what prompted me going back to work is, I went through a traumatic divorce, and I had, 4 kids from diapers to driver's ed. And I just knew I couldn't go back into the banking industry because it's 60 hours a week, all day, every day. And I became a true single mom, not the shared time mom. I became a true single mom, and I knew my kids needed me. So I decided I needed something with more flexibility, and I just moved on faith. Everyone told me, all the advice from everyone, Shelley, don't do it. Take the paycheck, go back. HR teams that I had worked with in the past were so happy to offer me lucrative contracts to come back into the mortgage industry, but I just couldn't do it. So I got my license. I did the 4-day class. I think it was 10 hours a day, 4 days. Got my license and started selling real estate so I could schedule my life around my kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. So when you were going back into real estate, what is one piece of advice that stuck with you? I know you had a lot of people saying, don't do it, don't go there, but what is that one piece of advice that you did get that really was like, okay, I can take this and run with it?
Well, fortunately, because I had so many agents that were my clients for years, they sent me mortgage business. When they heard about my circumstances and what I was going through, I had some really amazing veteran agents that were in the industry for 20 plus years. And they basically took me under their wing and they said, Shelley, you can do this. You can do this. The market was we weren't recovering yet. It was 2012.
Yeah.
So I was nervous, but it was really Ty Reeder, who's an agent based out of Milford. And I went and interviewed at all these companies, and I had these offers, and I asked him, can I just sit with you and go over them and you give me your opinion? And he walked in and he pushed them all to the side and he said, you're going to work at my company. And that's the way it's going to be. And I started RE/MAX right away, and they helped me tremendously. I still have great friends from my first brokerage.
That's awesome. Good for you. It's funny how that.
He was a blessing.
Yeah, it's funny how it always works out like that, but then really works out in the end. So that's awesome. What's kind of your plan? Do you have a team right now for yourself, or what do you got going right now?
No, I do have some support staff through our brokerage that I use, but primarily I'm pretty hands-on from beginning to end on all my transactions. I try to keep my volume at a level where I can manage it. I'm kind of a control freak. I want everything done my way. I'm working on that to, be able to trust people with parts of my business. Not quite there yet, but yeah, I'm pretty hands-on from beginning to end.
Yep, totally understand that.
I bet
once
you
you
do.
once you get past that and you kind of let them do that, then it's really hard to get to that point though. So I totally understand.
Yeah, you got to find out what your weaknesses are, and then hire people that have those strengths. And I know that.
Yep.
I know that here. I just have to get to that point where I can hire people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's say you had to start all over today. You had all the same knowledge you have and only $1,000. How would you spend that $1,000?
Oh, that's a great question. I probably would invest in more marketing, more social marketing right out the gate. I would buy some Facebook advertising, put it into the Google ads. I didn't do anything like that when I started. I didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
I basically bought some signs to put in yards and some business cards to hand out, and I was on my own. So I would definitely invest it in advertising online.
That's awesome. So what are you doing right now for marketing and stuff?
Well, primarily all my business is referral business. It's all referral based, and I can pretty much track 90% of my business back to the church that I went to in 2012. A lot came from that, just my sphere of influence, people knowing me, knowing my history. And so I've never farmed. I've never bought advertising. I've never bought leads. I really don't do anything. I pay for advertising for my listings, not to promote me, but to promote my listings on social media. But that's pretty much all I spend money on.
Sweet. That makes it nice.
Yeah. I mean, having referral business is the best way to stay alive. You want to take the best care of your people that you can so that they do feel comfortable referring you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, nice. So let's talk a little bit about how you would recommend getting into real estate. So if there's someone who wants to jump into real estate right now in this crazy market, what would you suggest?
Yeah, there's more than someone. I get approached at least once a day.
Okay.
Somebody's saying, "Oh, Shelley, I heard the market's really good, and I'm thinking my kids are getting older. I want to get into the industry." And I never discourage anyone, because I do believe there's enough business for all of us to be successful. But I do give the reality that, just because I'm at every single kid function and event and I make it look easy, there are many, many nights that I don't even sleep 4 hours. So it's doing my work in the pockets that I have available. So, real estate is just so much harder than it looks. And there's so much more. It's not for the weak at heart. It is not. There are high highs and there are low lows. If you can't handle that, this is not the industry for you. And I tell people that, but I never discourage anyone from, it's really easy to get your license in Michigan, 40 hours and take a test. So everyone can do that part. Yeah. But then when you realize how expensive it is to get started and where do you get your business from, that's the hard part.
Yeah, for sure. So how's the real estate process kind of work? So you said there's the 40-hour course, but so for somebody that's not sure, like they're thinking about getting their license, how does that process work after you get your license from the 40-hour course? What's the next step?
I mean, honestly, the only people that are going to use you right out of the gate are people that know you, and they if they feel comfortable. It's the biggest transaction in their life. It's the biggest financial transaction that most people have. So usually you start with your friends and your family, and once they trust you and you can get some experience and build that, hopefully you get referrals, from that point on. But it's not easy starting out. I was incredible. My old broker used to say to me, because crazy lucky things would happen to me, and he would say, "Shelley, if you do this till you die, that will never happen to you again." Because I had such good luck right out the gate.
Yeah.
My very first $500,000 listing was a $500,000 listing that walked in on a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. and no other agents were in the office. It was just me. So that's how I got my first listing. So
Well, that's nice.
God had a factor.
Yeah.
I had some favor and some blessing, and I hope other people have that same experience. But it's that has never happened to me again, by the way.
I know. How do you beat that?
Yeah, it really is. The story gets even better, but I won't go into it. But I also got the buyer on that deal, so I double dipped on my very first listing.
And you got it from me.
Did they know that you were brand new?
They didn't at 10 a.m. on Tuesday morning, but when I came to their house at 6 p.m. that day, then they knew.
Yeah.
And my broker did tell them, or my broker told me, Shelley, you're just the third agent coming in. They just want a third opinion, you know. And I said, well, it'll be good experience for me, so I'm going.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, once they hired me there that night, she said, oh, you're the third agent that we had. And I came clean. I said, well, you're the first listing that I had. And she said, well, I bet we'll get more attention than anyone else would give us. So we'll trust you. And that's how it started.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
and I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure you sold it since you said you had the buyer on that one too. So that worked out really well.
Yep. I said I'll have it sold in 60 days, and we signed the contract on day 60.
Nice. Hey, you got it. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. So is there any books that you would recommend anyone starting out in real estate to read to really help gear them in the right direction?
You know, I'm more of a Brian Buffini type agent. I like the personal touches. I know a lot of my agent friends recommend Tom Ferry or even reading Gary Keller books. But I'd say for the most part, I read faith-based self-improvement books because the better person I am, the more referrals I get. I'm more concerned with who I am and how I treat people and, you know, being, you know, just having integrity. Than I am about the financial success of it. That comes naturally if, you know, you build your business based on the right principles.
Nice. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you on that. If you work on yourself, it's going to show.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. One of my favorite books is Love Does by Bob Goff. I think everyone in the world, especially the society that we're living in right now, it's really just about loving your fellow man. And it's a really easy, quick read. I've read it probably 4 or 5 times in my lifetime. My kids have read it, and it's a great book.
Every time you reread it, is there something else that you pick up on? You're like, oh, I don't remember that from the first time I read that or the second time.
It's just like reading the Bible. Like, oh my gosh, how did that jump out at me? And when I've read this so many times before, that's exactly how my best books, my go-to books. I'm like, you know, the highlighted sections is where I go back and I focus on, and then I'm like, why didn't I highlight this section?
Right.
This is cool. So yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, how can people get a hold of you?
The easiest place to get a hold of me is just my cell phone. It's 517-404-9411. I've had that number since 1995. So yeah, that's the easiest way. And then my email, you can find me online. I am the only Shelly Pies, spelled like pies, in the world. So if you Google me, I'm the only one coming up. You might get some pie companies and some pizza companies, but for the most part, I'm easy to find if you just Google me, Shelly Pies, spelled pies. I always say it's spelled like pies, like pumpkin pies. It's pronounced like peas and carrots.
That's awesome. I like it. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody before we go?
This was just a great experience. So much fun.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks.
Are these working?
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe? What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
it might be there.
It might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Find
it. It's red.
Yeah. And it's blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them to also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5 stars, guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take 4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
I don't think this is working.
This is not working.
Yeah.